today. I wanted to talk to you all about really quickly about the children of polygyny. Um, we talked about this many times before that our husband has 10 biological children, two awesome bonus babies. And what does that mean for the children who are in families where their dad practices polygyny, their moms practice polygyny? What that means is that it is very important for those children to feel like family, the bond of family, not the tolerance of being a part of someone else's family. You know, the children are the glue that create um, our family. So without them, it's difficult to feel whole in polygyny as a child that practices, has a family that's in a family that practices polygyny. So a couple examples are that of when we have multiple wives, when the men have multiple wives and they have children with these men, their husbands. Are those children to know one another? And within my family, yes, indeed. Within Islam, yes, indeed. If it is okay and they're able to. Now, some are separated through geography. So some families might live states apart, cities apart, worlds apart, on one side of the world versus the other side of the world. And if that is something that has had to happen, and it can't be controlled just yet, or that's something that's being worked on, then that's allowed within that family. And I hope and may Allah bring them together, um, so that they feel close. Now, those of us that live within close proximity of our co-wives, as I do, I love that because our children get to know each other on a day-to-day basis, and it's so healthy for them mentally. Because I can't imagine my 8-year-old son who has, for my children, my boys have a gap, a 5-year gap. So I have a teenage son, and then there's a 5-year gap, and then I have an 8-year-old son. I wouldn't want to be in the position of my 8-year-old child if he's feeling as though he's not bonded with his brothers, you know? So he has younger brothers, and he has another brother that is older than him, slightly older than him, and they're so close. But I can't imagine them not having that with one another, or me robbing them of that as a grown up within polygyny. So it's so important that our children feel whole and they feel like they belong. All of them are bonus babies, our own children through biology, that they belong within the family and they don't feel like, I'm just somebody that kind of stops by. Because sometimes we can trick ourselves into thinking they're little. They won't remember what's going on. It won't matter what's going on. We're not allowed to make that decision for them and say, well, you know what? It doesn't matter. They'll meet later on. They'll meet sometime in their life. We don't know that. We don't know that. So we need to allow them best practices, because at outstandingpersonalrelationships.com, our husband and my co-wife and I talk a lot about best practices for best results. You don't have to do anything. You don't. But you must know that there are consequences to every action and reaction. So with our children being young, to make the decision for them to say, you know what, maybe I don't like my co-wife, so then my children don't meet her children, or the husband's children don't get to meet one another. They want to meet each other, maybe. And maybe in the future they'll grow to want to meet each other. Maybe they want to see each other now. So I kind of let my 8-year-old say, you know what? Oh, can I go to the other house? He absolutely can. And his brothers can come to our house or the other house for them, so that they can play together. They're playing together right now. And what I love about our family, what I celebrate about our family, is that we are both open for that. And my 8-year-old spends so much time at my co-wife's house. There's more boys, more little boys, so he has a lot more variety of toys and things that he likes to do over there. And I really am glad that he has that. So his happiness, that makes me happy. So we tried our best to tactfully tackle some of the harder burning questions like, should my kids meet my co-wife's kids? Should my kids hang out with their siblings or get close, even though I'm not close with my co-wife? You don't have to be close with your co-wife. You don't have to be best friends. I would hope that there's a mutual agreement to be cordial and respectful for the position of wife, yes, but to be best buddies, no. You don't have to. Would it be great? Yeah, it would be great. It would be nice if you were, you know, close, because sometimes that makes things easier. Although, like I said, you don't have to. You don't have to. Maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you want to be there and you're just not. But while you're working on yourself and while she's working on herself and while your husband's working on himself, there's still children involved. In some cases, maybe some of you don't have children by choice, or maybe it's just not time yet and Allah's not facilitated that for you just yet. But I can't, in the position that I'm in as a mother, as a wife, and as a mother with children. I have 7, and the majority of my children are grown, with the exception of my 8-year-old son. I wouldn't want my 8-year-old son to be traumatized by a decision that I made for him that does not make him feel comfortable with his role as brother. So I can't see myself walking around going, okay, you have brothers, but you can't see them, you know. And then him say, I want to see them. I want to see them every day. I want to be around them as much as possible. And he's asked me, and they've asked, can they come over here? They do this stuff all the time. They love going back and forth to the houses. They love it. They love it. They love it. And sometimes we're super busy. And like I said, I have grown up children. They're children for me. They're adults to the world, but they're my babies. And they work, and they're not here sometimes, and we're ripping and running. And it's not always that they can come, but they come as often as they can. And for us as a family unit, it's very important. Now, this wasn't always this way as far as talking and being a complete unit. This is year 10. So I don't want anybody to compare your year 1 to our year 10, because it started off rocky. It was rough. We have many videos on YouTube here about best practices, what we do, what we don't do. We have, I believe, a family meeting video on there as well. My co-wife and I share different stories. Our husband, he does the same. We train every month with our Relationship Mastery Inner Circle, and you can join the Relationship Mastery Inner Circle by visiting outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/RM for Relationship Mastery. And follow us on our socials. On IG, we're Outstanding Relationships, because personal relationships was too long. And here on YouTube, of course, Outstanding Personal Relationships. And on Facebook, Outstanding Personal Relationships. So back to what I was saying real quick. It's important as a family unit that we support whatever is going to make our children feel the most emotionally healthy and mentally healthy. And what they want, and what most children want, is to play with other children, especially when they're their siblings. They want to get to know each other. They have the right to know each other. Really quickly, I thought I was the oldest child for a hot minute when I was younger. I have an older brother. There's a video of my brother Christopher and I here on YouTube, on this channel. I'm interviewing him and talking to him about polygyny. And back to what happened and how I thought I was the oldest. My dad had him when he was 17, along with his mother, of course. And his mother and my brother moved to Colorado, and we're from the upper Midwest. And I didn't see him for a long time. And I didn't remember as a young, very young child that he was even in the world. You know, people would say things, but I wasn't connecting the dots. So I thought I was the oldest for a sec. And then I saw some pictures of him in my grandmother's album, and I started asking some questions. And she said, "That's your brother Chris." And it was his birthday because on the wall behind him it said, "Happy birthday, Christopher." So, and I just saw this little boy, and I'm like, you know, who is he? And we have different mothers. We share the same father. So that's kind of how things got confused and fell out of our hands. And it wasn't our fault. So I'm not going to be that person that my child looks up to when he gets older and say, you know, why didn't I see my brothers? How come I don't know them? What happened? What part did you play in it? Did you help or did you hurt? So starting children off when they're so young, and my son doesn't know anything except polygyny. My daughters, their transition was different. They were more used to their father and myself. And then my sons are just, that's what they know. So I just wanted to pop in here and just make sure that everybody knows that even if you're not there today, you can get there if you have the willingness to, if that's what you want. You know, it's just about working on yourself every day. Again, don't compare your chapter 1 or chapter 10. And then if your children have questions, do your best to answer them. And if you don't know, it's okay to say, I don't know yet, and I'm still trying to figure things out. But definitely hear the things that they have to say and find out what they want to do, what makes them comfortable, what makes them uncomfortable, and possibly work on that as a family. Again, I'm Coach Fatimah with OutstandingPersonalRelationships.com. I hope to see you guys soon. Check us out on our social medias, and I'm going to leave you with a little GLC. Make sure you're growing intentionally, loving fearlessly, and connecting on a higher level every single day. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.